So you guys, today you guys see the title and we are going to get into this. And I want to start this video off by simply repeating and reiterating that yes, indeed, I am all there is. And hopefully as you all watch this video, you all will be able to relate this to your way of life as well. Because honestly, the statement, I'm all there is simply a reflection and an embodiment of the divine law of oneness, meaning everything is one. We are all connected through consciousness, okay? We are all one. Nothing is separate from us. There is nothing outside of us. There's nothing outside of self, right? Our life can only reflect us at all times based on who we're being at all times, right? And at times, our reality can reflect past decisions, present beliefs, embodiments, identities, and everything like that. And of course, as we evolve and grow and ascend more into our higher selves, our reality can shift and reflect that as well. So it's just one big old reflection of you at all times, in all ways, and essentially you being all there is in your reality. You are the only thinker, you are the only operant power in your reality, okay? There's nothing outside of you. So wasting your time with worrying about what others think and what others feel, it just creates noise. So when you realize that you're all there is, and you realize that you are indeed the operant power and the only thinker and the only creator in your reality, you start to let go of a lot, because you realize, okay, well, maybe I didn't necessarily make the best choices in the past or the present or whatever. But then when you start to see that no matter what decisions you've made, no matter how far you've come in life, no matter how far you even think that you've fallen, you've always seemed to be okay. You've always seemed to be divinely guided and divinely directed. And you've always seemed to come out better, possibly tenfold than, whatever situation you probably left behind to where you are now. And that should honestly be your compass in life for understanding that you're always covered. You are always on the right path, so as long as you choose to believe so, okay? It's the meaning that we give things in life that will produce the effect of what those experiences are, right? So if I'm labeling something as super negative, if I am giving my power away and I'm spiraling about it and I'm panicking about it and, getting depressed about it and all these things, well, essentially, I'm not only giving my power away, but I'm giving my awareness, my levels of consciousness away to it, and my energy away to it. That means I am telling my universe that this thing outside of me has more power than me. This thing, this person, this scenario outside of me is more important and more valuable than me. And that's just not the case. Okay, I'm all there is. Okay, there's nothing outside of me ever. And even when it comes to ebbs and flows and ups and downs, if you simply stay in the knowing that you are indeed all there is and that there's nothing against you, you will see your life indeed play out that way tenfold all the time. And it also should bring you comfort to know that if you are, and this is about to be me repeating the same statement, if you are indeed all there is, the only operant power, the only co-creator alongside your universe and your reality, the only thinker, right? You should easily be able to release fear, release guilt, release shame, release even anger. Because what is there to be so guilty over? What is there to be mad at? What is there to be so upset at? What is there to give, power away to if it's just you? And all of your decisions in your life is just simply reflecting that, your beliefs. And if you realize that you do indeed have some limited beliefs around certain, topics or, people or circumstances or whatever it is, then that's something that you need to work on and definitely, release those, elevate your self-concept, and if need be, definitely regulate your nervous system so you can come into a more easy and just more steady reality as you continue to ascend, because you're going to start to really realize that the unnecessary stress is just that, unnecessary. Like, for example, coming into the knowing and the realization that I'm all there is. Now, this started off as an affirmation, and what can happen with affirmations is the more we tell ourselves these things, the more that we believe them, the more our reality reflects, the more we embody it, the more our behaviors and our actions change, the more our brain becomes rewired and the more our mindset changes. And if you are a person to where you used to think heavily against yourself, you used to maybe talk down about yourself, you used to have, like, I don't know, maybe low self-esteem, low self-worth, or whatever it is, then that's going to rewire, that's going to shift the more you do your affirmations, the more you do your journaling work, your nervous system work, your self-concept work, and really begin to embody a new self as all there is in your reality, because you should become more whole with self and more at home with self, because you realize that life is just you and all you. And if it's just you, what is there really to fear, be mad at, etc., right? So when you're doing these affirmations and when you are starting to transform your reality, what you're going to notice is, first, there's going to be an elevation of self-concept, and then that's going to automatically be one of the first things reflected. So let's say you're used to, like, you know, shitty relationships, and I've told you guys this with me, like, honestly, you're used to, like, shitty relationships and, like, people, you know, treating you like trash, or people being toxic, or people having their own unresolved issues. What you're going to notice is that some people who maybe you have fallen away from in the past, either they will elevate to match your new self-concept, and do trust that some people do indeed just fall away, right? But you're going to attract new people who are going to reflect your self-concept better, who treat you better, who you don't have to ask twice, you know, for anything for. They're excited to be out with you. They're excited to take you out on dates. They're excited to, you know, spoil you. They're excited to, you know, make you like the center of their world, as they should, especially if you're a woman. They're excited to provide for you. They're excited to care for you. And it's more of an easy flowing, you know, relationship without any resistance, because there is no resistance within self. So why would there be resistance outside of you? Now, also, too, do understand this. I know that in the manifestation community, that some people do say that, you know, always keep an open mind, that some people do grow and change. I can understand that, and I personally, I agree only to a certain extent. Only because, y'all know, I have lived it all. I have honestly experienced it all in life. And I have experienced some very, very, very dark people, unfortunately. And when I separated myself from those people and I realized they were a false mirror, they were never truly reflecting my true self. In fact, these people were so dark that to where they projected a lot onto me. You guys should listen to my latest short, or my recent video. I posted the main video on my main channel or whatever. I may post it over here too, like in its full, like 5-minute length thing, because it's important. But listen to my latest video, my latest short, when I talk about not allowing a failure of a man to project onto you, because a lot of very abusive, very controlling, very egotistical men will do this to paint a narrative about you and deem you as whatever it is. And that's just very dark minded. That's very dark sided. In fact, that's actually darkness on a level to where I can't even recognize. And I'm a person that has experienced a lot of it in my own personal life. But now that I've released that, ascended, and I attract and I live better, and just overall healthier, happier life, definitely very proud of how far I've come, especially in my mentality and my mindset, and in just a couple of years, especially after being so dedicated to this work. But I am of the belief that people can only change to a certain extent. There are certain people to where, because of who they are internally, or who and what they are lacking internally, they may never be able to healthily reflect change. And I'm talking about an elevated self-concept. In fact, some people, you know, when you shine so brightly in life, and when you have such a radiant aura, and you have such clean energy, and you're a vibrant person, and you're a happy person, and you tend to wish others well, and you know, you're a peace-loving person, you're an easygoing person, sometimes your light will cast other people's shadows out, because they do not know how to handle a person like you. And unfortunately, they're definitely not interested in learning from a person like you. They would rather dim your light, lie on you, you know, smear you, pawn things or whatever against you to make them feel better about themselves, when really, especially if you are of the mindset of I'm all there is, there's nothing outside of me and there's nothing against me. Well, that leaves all that negative energy that those people are projecting onto you to bounce back quite literally tenfold and go onto them. You do not have to accept anyone's negative energy your way, okay? You do not have to accept any bullshit from anyone. You never have to tolerate any disrespect from anyone or whatever, especially people who are like kind of going out of their way to dim you or to try to harm you. You kind of see through games like that very, very quickly when you are operating at the law of divine oneness, because you're going to be so focused on your own self-concept. You're going to be so focused quite literally being all there is in your own reality, to where their nonsense that they try to project onto you and send your way is quite literally going to look and sound like noise. In fact, it may even be nonsensical, because a lot of it is very irrational, very dysfunctional, very toxic, it's giving unwell. And those are the people who, not saying that they can't change, but they may only have the capacity to elevate to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, it doesn't have anything to do with you. Okay, we are not here to handhold others in our reality. We are not here to babysit others in our reality. We are not here to make excuses or endure people's abuse or mistreatment or their control or egotistical, warfare they're trying to cast against us. We are not trying, we're not here for that bullshit. All right, that's not our reflection. That's a false mirror. Why would I give it energy? Why would I give it attention? Why would I give it space? You can always compartmentalize things. If you're in a situation to where maybe you do need to defend yourself, or possibly you need to get out because it's abusive, well, then of course protect yourself and do all that's necessary. But don't let it be a thing to where it's stressing you out. It's consuming your day. It's consuming your life, especially when there's so much beautiful life out here to live, especially when there's so much out here that you can actually indulge in. When you guys ask me, well, how do I detach? By indulging in self, by prioritizing self, by caring and loving self, by seeing who you are as more than enough, by seeing yourself as the goddess of your reality, by seeing yourself as all there is, and really treating yourself as such, whether that's, buying yourself flowers or taking yourself on a nice date. The more you treat yourself better, the more others are going to know how to treat you, especially as they come in and they better reflect that higher self-concept and they start to orbit in and, match your energy on a healthy, more loving, more like softer level, which is amazing. Okay. But to get there first, it all starts within self, right? Because life is only reflecting us, right? So when you are indeed all there is, this is what we mean when we say work on self-concept, work on elevating your mindset, get distance and space from people if need be, and continue to progress and continue to move forward and continue to prioritize yourself in a way to where you are balanced, to where you are stable, to where you are at peace with everything. And if you are, going through something to where it's maybe like pressing on your mind, or maybe you have, a challenge to solve, well, first of all, label it as not against you. Always see things as working in your favor, because when you really open up, your perspective to that mindset, you're going to see how everything in every little way is always working in your favor at all times. And it's going to bring you closer with self. I know for me, definitely on my journey, not only have I developed a deeper, more loving relationship with myself, but I have indeed grown my faith in God, and I have become closer with God, and I see everything, okay? Even if it seems like I don't, I see the good, I see the bad, I see the evil, I see all of these things, right? And I never label any of it as against me. In fact, I'm always, labeling it and seeing it in my favor, because I see the good. I see the people who are in my life who love me for me, who've been here as I've worked on myself, as I've ascended, as I've evolved, and I have made nothing but room for them. And I've seen how they're trying to grow with me, especially family, right? And I love that. And I also see how in my dating life, my elevated self-concept is being so beautifully reflected, and dates are easier, forming, possible relationships are easier. And it's just been really a beautiful experience, and I understand it's all me that this is all orbiting from. Now, I also see the bad. There are people who have ill intentions for me. Indeed, there are people who, even right now as we speak, who are quite literally killing themselves in ego battles, pride battles, darkness, thinking that they are hurting me, but because I see through them, and I have for such a long time, it doesn't bother me. If anything, it actually kind of, I'm not gonna lie, I'm mildly impressed at how stupid some people really choose to be. Because when you detach and when you don't allow people's manipulations or their lies or how they misconstrue things to internally affect you, or to like rock your world or give your power away or anything like that, you leave that energy to bounce back to them tenfold, especially if you are, divinely protected, and you have faith in self, you have, a solid relationship within self, you're stable, you're fortunate, you're covered, like, you know what I mean? Like, your enemies do themselves in. And I'm talking about the people who probably you left, and those situations were, they were left on loose ends because you chose to go ascend, elevate, and work on yourself. And that's the thing. Some of these people, when you go and you like leave them to go work on yourself and you go to ascend, some of these people will really spiral themselves into the ground, like damn near into the grave. And it's actually quite sad. There's nothing that you can do about it, because as I said, like, we are not babysitters. I'm all there is. However, it's not my responsibility. If someone can't take my ascension, my natural reflection, and just who I am is all there is in my reality, that's not my responsibility to like handhold them, or to even dare stoop to my level to them, or engage in anything like that, because why would I do that? Right? Like, why would I do that? Right? We aren't in the business of doing that here, right? We are only ever working towards our ascension, working towards our elevation, and bettering our life and our, environments around us. And that's all it really is about. And then, of course, with people with evil, wicked plans, those are the people who I'm talking about. They honestly may only be able to change to a certain extent. I personally, and I understand that this is a choice, this is, also possibly a belief that I personally hold, but because of all the things that I've overcome and that I have really moved through in life, I don't believe in putting faith in anyone more than myself. And the only other, entity that I have faith in is God. So it's honestly just me and God. Like, I'm walking alongside the Father. Me and the Father are one, which that's also reflecting the law of divine oneness. And so that's just my personal belief. And ever since really embodying this, I've seen the beautiful change in my life. I am so grateful. I am so beyond blessed. Especially to have been learning these lessons and instilling them and embodying them as early as I have, especially, because I have a child and I want more children in the future. So these are lessons I want to bestow upon them, so they don't let the darkness and the wickedness and the bullshit of this world get them down. I don't ever want my kids to struggle with a lower self-concept like how I used to, like feeling like I'm not enough, feeling like, I have to overextend myself for approval, always feeling like I have to prove myself to someone, giving power outside of myself, especially as a woman. My children need to see me be that example. My children need to see me be the better person. My children need that healthy example of, actual ascended being, the light, the way, the path, all there is, even for them. You know what I mean? So they can know how to embody it themselves. So that's another reason why, I've chosen all of this, right? And so when you do this work, you have to, it doesn't matter when you start. So let's say you are going through something tough to where maybe you have loose ends with someone, or maybe like life is like reflecting super negatively because of all of your past negative thoughts, assumptions, beliefs, etc. And you're finally ready to cut the bullshit and say, hey, I'm tired of believing in this. I'm tired of living this way. I want to change my life. I want to change my surroundings. I want to change my entire friendship circle. I want to change the way I interact with family. I want to change the way I am in relationships and how relationships reflect me. that's fine. If there is anything that's like loose ended, or there are things that you immediate needs, like I don't know, like I would say, like, I don't know, just make sure your immediate needs are taken care of, right? But like loose ends with like relationships or past people or even like extended family and things like that, let them be where they're at, because eventually they're going to rise to meet you in one way, shape, or another. But I would just say be wary of people who dwell in darkness and wickedness and just very low vibrational, low frequency bullshit. Because as you ascend and as you elevate in your self-worth and as you elevate in your self-concept and raise your frequency and your vibration just as a person, what you're going to find is you no longer vibe with low frequency. And anything low frequency is also going to bounce off of you, because you're going to sit there and look at it like, what? And people who are still dwelling in low frequency, they're not going to be able to reach you, right? It's almost like you all are going to be speaking a different language when interacting with each other, because you've changed so much, and then you left those people to be where they're at. So if they're still dwelling in the same old negative, toxic nonsense, that's where they're going to be at. That's who they are. And not trying to say that that's who they probably always will be, but don't get your hopes or hang your hat on, oh, well, you know, maybe they'll change, or maybe they'll be better, and I'm better now, why aren't they better? Child, please. And by the time you elevate like this, you should already be attracting in people who are treating you better and better prioritizing you and better reflecting you anyway. So you're not going to really care about those loose ends with all those lower frequency people. You know, and another thing that I want to do is saying that using I'm all there is not only as an affirmation and embodying this, you're going to find that even when you are faced up with challenges, like, so saying I'm all there is actually commands energy in a room. It centers your reality, right? And I promise you it does this. It shuts shit down. It does. So if you notice people who are trying to bring arguments and disagreements your way, say I'm all there is and remove yourself. Okay, if you are around people and, like, let's say you're trying to get a point across and, like, you said what you said, like, I understand that, yeah, I said what I said. Okay, you can go that route, or you can just say, I'm all there is, and that's final. I don't need to repeat myself, and because people would understand. So you just say, I'm all there is, all right? People, they shut the fuck up, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. There's no need to argue. There's no need for back and forth. Also, if you're in a setting that feels kind of tense, and let's say you need to present yourself or whatever, you can open with I'm all there is. Like, first of all, I'm all there is, and, you know, continue with your sentence. And if things get heated or you feel the need to defend yourself, which you should never, just I'm all there is, remove yourself. Anybody tries to bring a disagreement, a heated argument or whatever your way, I'm all there is, and then you just stop replying, okay? And it shuts down bullshit so beautifully, so you don't have to waste your energy, your time, or even your frequency on dwelling in lower vibrational disagreements, arguments, and settings, because you're going to realize that you are indeed above it. And by saying I'm all there is and using it as like a reality, like, reset, as a reality, like, you know, anchor, an energy anchor too as well, you're going to find that even your exchanges with people and circumstances is going to change. Because it's honestly what it is. You're commanding your energy in a room, and you're also commanding that respect, whether they're giving it to you or not. And the reason why people act so stuck when you say that is because they know you're not budging. You know, so many people are used to those back and forths. They're used to trying to bait you into arguments and, you know, trying to get a rise out of you or make you upset in some way, shape, or form, or even make you sad, whatever it is. Like, I'm all there is, you know. And then you can always rebuke the energy and just say you send it back tenfold, and just absolutely not, because why would I dwell in lower vibrational argumentative bullshit, especially like if you're a person to where you grew really tired of engaging in toxic cycles and you grew really tired of dealing with stuff like this. Like, you're gonna find that yeah, I'm not budging on that, because I wasted too much of my life stressed in toxic cycles and toxic arguments and disagreements. And I love myself and I value myself too much to ever go back there again, to ever lower myself like that again, to ever give my energy and my power away again. So I'm all there is, and that's final. And you're going to love how that works out for you in your life. So when you do this work, do trust that, you know, anyone or anything that you quote unquote leave behind, they will eventually rise to meet you at a better frequency. But if they don't, and if they are showing more and more signs of truly just being unable because they're that dense internally, some people just really aren't in connection with their soul or their spirit. Some people, unfortunately, in this world are just very dark minded. They are almost of darkness themselves because they've never really their shadows get casted out by other people's light because their shadow is all they've ever known. You know what I mean? And so people who have lived like that for a long period of time, doing this kind of elevation work may be uncomfortable. And I'm talking about way beyond the level of discomfort that it is for like people like us, where we really want to change. We've seen and we've taken accountability for where we've gone wrong in our lives. We've taken accountability for our poor mindsets. And we've really had to meet self in the mirror, good, bad, ugly, and in between, make peace with it and move forward. And I believe that even just doing that one step is very hard for people who are just lower and darker, because they don't know the first half of it, right? They wouldn't know what being a good person, what being a good being, and I'm talking about good to self. I'm not talking about pleasing others. I'm talking about good to self, because when you're dwelling in that amount of darkness, you lack love within self. You are lacking in anything that's divine. You are lacking in divinity, just period. And some people are comfortable with not loving themselves. Unfortunately, they've made a home in their hell. And those are people who you cannot go outside of yourself and overextend yourself to help people like that, guide people like that. In fact, you are better off distancing yourself from people like that. You are better off protecting yourself from people like that. You're better off just on your own journey and attracting others who better reflect you, and just really vibing with self in a way to where you're okay with or without anyone, because at the end of the day, you are indeed all there is. So the only way for you to truly be at peace with your outer reality is if you're at peace within self. And so prioritizing your peace, prioritizing your self-love, prioritizing your self-worth, prioritizing everything when it comes to your ascension, indeed you will be prioritized because of how you're holding yourself so highly in such a high regard, right? And so embodying this to me becomes easy, especially as we repeat affirmations, we work on our nervous system and we progress. And it should honestly take a lot of stress off of you internally, because you're going to realize that there's no need to be upset. There's no need to be angry. There's no need to even be overly sad, and definitely not panic and fear and worry when you really get down to the logic of that, meaning thinking in your favor. Because thinking against yourself is very illogical. And I've had to learn that too. Thinking in your favor, you're going to learn that, yeah, I'm not going to give power outside of myself to this negativity. I'm not going to give power outside of myself to this issue or this challenge or this circumstance, because I'm all there is. So I'm going to trust in self and move forward and know that as all there is, this indeed will change and work in my favor. And that's a beautiful place to start. That's a beautiful place to be. So you guys go ahead and let me know what you all thought about this video. I love you guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Mwah.